Hello my brothers and sisters in nerdiness, welcome back to the Spider's Web. And in this video we're going to be painting one of these little chaps. These are Saurian warriors from the Secrets of Tixal campaign by One Page Rules. Going to have a look at a few of these now, or most of them actually, just to show you the different poses that they have. I think there's two of each particular pose, and I'll be painting all of these type off camera. They're all now actually done, but we're going to be focusing on about 3 of these minis and in video, because they are 3 of the main minis. And what you see me do in these videos for the ones we feature, I've done already on these ones, so you're not missing anything whatsoever. So we will take the last one of the, that's not that one, actually it is that one. There is it's a different mini that I was thinking of. Found it, oh sorry, I put it to one side and thinking it was a different mini, but it wasn't. So it's not this one that I was thinking of. But how we're going to work out which of these 3 minis we're going to do? Well, we're going to go back to a tried and tested method that has worked for years and years, decades, probably centuries even. You know the one as soon as you see something that I'm going to do. Just with a simple movement you can tell what I'm going to do. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Hey, it works. Which one are we going to be knocking out? We'll knock that one out. Then we'll go with eeny, meeny, miny, mo again, and we land on that one. So we're not going to do that one this time. We're going to be doing the drummer. We are focusing on this little fella. Now, as I say, we'll be stopping and starting with some of these, because when I've got the airbrush full, I will be painting each of these warriors with the colours. So angel green, and this is an airbrush paint. It's going on the from the bottom up of the mini, and as you can see, the Emmy Painter logo is there. That is because that we have been gifted, or we've been gifted these paints by the Emmy Painter to review and use, and very happy with them. Oh, what paint is this? Oh, I really should have shown. Oh, I remembered. Broodmother Purple. Again, one of the colour range. This is going from the very top of the mini, going down. This is covering all of the areas that have the scales, and this is going to be the base colour for the scales. It's not a shadow colour like the green is. And as I said, we're going to be painting all of these. So once I've done this one, I'll go on to all the others that you've seen and paint all of them as well. So they're all getting this business done at the same time. And now we have the one we're actually focusing on. So yeah, this is going to be the base colour. I like this. Steve's green skin is what we're going to be using next to make the fleshy areas a little bit brighter rather than being dark. Unfortunately, at the moment I was having a little bit of trouble with the airbrush trying to get it to actually spit the paint out. It wasn't doing terribly well, but I just needed to clean it, and there we are. We're back. So yeah, Steve started painting some, but as I said in the past few videos, he's lost enjoyment for painting. It happens, and yeah, I said I'd paint them for him, and so happy I've did actually, because thoroughly enjoying painting these. Now, as you saw there, I forgot to point out that I changed colour and this is feral green, making this a little bit brighter. This is kind of like the main colour for the fleshy areas. Now, I said Stephen had already painted some of them. It was a different type of mini, and he painted what I'm doing green here, he did it pink, but we stuck with the blue and purple for the scaly parts because that's the colour scheme he quite likes. I'm just doing slightly different colour scheme to what he's done, just to show that they're different lizards after all. There's a few of the purple areas that I've covered with the green that I've just used, so we're going back over them just to make sure that all the areas I want this colour gets to be this colour. I could do it with a brush. I've got an airbrush. It's easy with that, it doesn't take as long. Welcome back to wet palette. We will be swapping between wet and CD palette as we go on, but we're going to continue with Viking blue. This part is an incredibly long, drawn out, and as I see it, a very relaxing stage, because we're going to be painting every single scale on every one of these minis. Scale by scale we paint these minis. This took a long time, especially seeing as you saw how many actual minis we've got, and I'm painting each and every scale on each and every mini. It took a while. So this particular video has been shot over different stages, because I wanted to focus on getting the paint done in like a conveyor belt system. While I've got a colour out, I'll use it for everything, and this is how it looks once all the scales are done. Some scales more prominent than others. I tried to make each one look slightly different. Matte white now. This is going over any cloth areas, any leather areas, feathers, that kind of thing. There's a few bits of rope on the drum that we're going to be painting with this as well. This is really because we're going to be using speed paints as we go on, and we also want some vivid colours as well on certain areas, so that's why we go over the feathers, because I want the colours to look a bit more vivid. Plus we're using speed paints. Moon dust now. So I'll put a bit of this on the palette. Put a little too much of this on the palette. I can never put a right amount out. I always put too much and end up wasting paint. It's irritating me because it just never clicks to me as I'm doing it. Oh well, I'm so used to painting with pictures now and stuff like that I'm putting way too much paint out. But I decided to use this as to highlight the green, but I didn't like the way it looked, so we got some goblin green out as well. Now we'll get the goblin green out, put that at the side of the yellow, and what we're going to do is take some of this goblin green, put it to one side, and mix in some of that moondust yellow and make a light greeny yellow colour. A pale green colour to use as a highlight for the fleshy areas. And here we go, we're starting off, and all the raised areas for these minis will be painted in this manner, and I really do like the way they look. You can, if you want to, paint these slightly different for each model. I think I've done some of the models a different colour. I think I did all the warriors a different colour, but I wanted this fella to stand out a little more. So I think I can't remember what I did with the others, to be honest. I think I used the fire lizard. I don't know, I really can't remember, but doesn't matter. Paint them however you want. There's no hard or fast rule on how you have to paint them. The thing is, if you enjoy painting, just get them painted. They're your models after all. You don't have to follow on exactly the same colours that I'm doing. If you are painting along with me on this video, use which colours you want to use. It's just that I know that Steve wanted the purple and blue for the scales, and that's what I went with for those. Fire lizard now. This one I usually use for the eyes, which surprisingly enough, I'm using for the eyes. I also use for the toenails and the fingernails as well. I call them toenails and fingernails. The actual name for them, I think, is claws. But, well, we'll call them toenails and fingernails, just for humour value. I have actually noticed that I've missed some areas with the that I should have painted white, which will be these, I think it's the ropes on, like a cloth area on there, and then we have the skin of the drum, and there's some little ropes that are keeping the tension ropes for the drum as well. We're painting those with this white also. It's just so that we can control what colour goes on the drum, because I'm not using speed paint on this, but I'll be using speed paint on the ropes and in other areas where the white is. So there we are. So swapping out wet palette for CD palette, and when we bring CD palette in, we'll find out what we're going to be doing next. It's been a week or so since I actually did this. Hardened leather is what we're using now. I can't remember exactly step by step, but it's a week or so since I actually painted this, and yeah, editing it was fun because, as I say, it was in multiple shots rather than just one long take, because of going onto the different minis and not wanting to waste time by showing everything. I just paused the video and then carried on when I came back to this fella. Zealot yellow now, and as I said in the last video, I twigged to what I should be doing for feathers. Instead of using the actual paints, speed paints work just as well, if not even better, because they settle into the recesses, they keep away from the raised areas, and they give the detail in the feathers that you fight to do with normal paints. Fire Giant Orange will do some other feathers with this colour. So these ones on his beater will be this colour, and once we've done the front and the back, is there anywhere else we're going to use this? Yes, we're going to use this on the top of those ones that we did for yellow. So those around his crotch, orange and yellow feathers. So we'll swap out now CD palette for wet palette. This is going to be a recurring theme. We're swapping out one for the other. You know, we use different palettes for different paints. Amber skin next. If you're using normal paints, you would use the wet palette. If you're using metallic paints or speed paints, use something like a dry palette, because you don't want metallic flakes mixing in with the water in your wet palette, and the speed paints are too liquid to go onto a wet palette anyway. They'll just be all over the place once it hits the water. So I notice as well that we didn't do this rope, this tension rope here, so we'll go along with the hardened leather for that. I'll also do this little wrist strap that he's got as well in this, just to make sure that it's done. Now these are, or this is rather, a very ornate drum. There's all little raised and dipped areas, so we're going to be doing a lot of faffing about with this drum. There's a lot of little areas to do, and it's very detailed, and it's a lovely mini to paint all round. But this drum was quite fun to paint with, on the little raised areas. I'm thoroughly enjoying doing these models. You know, you can say what you want about Games Workshop models, they are nice, but I don't get the enjoyment out of painting them as I do out of painting something like this, and I don't know why. It's just, there's just something about it. I don't know whether it's just because it's Games Workshop model or not. I don't know. But anyway, This is the orange that we use for the feathers, and we're just going over the drum, the leather on the drum, while the jasper skin is still damp. It's not dried yet, so we just want to try and make a little bit of a blend kind of thing. And then I wasn't quite happy with exactly how it looks. It wasn't faded down a little bit, so I'll wash my brush out, go back into the jasper skin, and go back onto the face of the drum again and just blend some of it out even more. The idea is to get the patina to the leather for the drum. When you get a natural leather drum like this, you get different markings, different colours, different shapes and that in the actual leather itself, and it looks really, really nice when you can somehow replicate that. And I'll be doing something a little different or something else with it as well a little later on. Now I'm mixing in a few different colours as I do, and I'm going to use this to paint the beater. It's a nice little pale browny green, not exactly olive, because it's a little more vibrant than I find olive to be, but yeah, it's a nice little browny green colour. Let's get rid of CD palette and bring in desert yellow. I'm just announcing what paints I'm using as well, just in case you don't catch it or some of these labels are a little difficult to read. This is going to be used for the main shaft of the beater. That did sound wrong. I know what I meant, you know what I meant, so keep your mind out of the gutter. Pure red now. We'll bring some of that in, and as you can see, all I'm doing is just bringing colours in, mixing them together, popping them where I think. There's no plan, there's no rhyme or reason for any of these. I'm just seeing what I think might work. Seeing how colours mix together. Play about with them. Don't be scared of playing about with them. There's a lot of the YouTubers who display painters will make it out that you should do this and that and the other and make it a very technical process, and it doesn't have to be. It can be incredibly natural. Just pick some colours, get them on, paint them where you want them, and then just mix them together and see what you think. It's quite freeing when you do that, very liberating for painting, because you don't feel tied into actually using or getting more colours than you actually need. If you can work with a limited palette and mix, it works wonders. You don't need to know any colour theory, although it does help. All you need to do is just play about with the minis and try and find the shades and the tones that you want. Just have fun with it, especially if all you're doing is painting them for fun or for tabletop work. If that's all you're doing with it, just get on with it and paint it and enjoy it. Enjoy the process. Obviously it's a lot more work if you are doing it for displays or competitions or whatever. These videos are not aimed to help display painters. I'm not a display painter. I'm here to try and encourage people to actually pick up a brush and paint the minis. I want to show it's easier than it's made out to be. Yeah, I know I do paint, so like what I call wall hanging art as well as paint minis, but I'm not formally trained in anything. I've not gone studying art. I'm all self-taught, doing everything I'm doing, and I just learned by just doing, and it's the best way of learning. And then when you watch more YouTube videos, or when you watch more artists, or when you hang around with different people who do the same kind of thing, you'll learn different techniques. You pick things up as you go along, you incorporate them into what you're doing, and over time you get better and better and better. You know, I mean, okay, sometimes you just lose the desire to do it. That happens. And it's sad when that happens, but 9 times out of 10 that happens because there's other things going on that, you know, you've got more of an interest in, or it's taken up more of your attention. I mean, sometimes those things are really good. Sometimes, you know, it's not so good. I mean, yeah, last year I didn't do much in the line of painting because of the way I was feeling. But in those situations, once you get feeling on the better side, once you start feeling yourself again, you start painting again. But if you've got, you know, like work, you're busy with work, you're busy with other hobbies, there are, you know, and you lose your interest in painting, that's fine. You've got other things. You know, so hopefully it comes back again when things calm down. If not, you know, one of those things. But yeah, don't be afraid of just trying, just slapping some paint on. In my early videos when I was painting, I used the word just slap this on. Well, I use the term just slap this on. We'll slap this colour on here, we'll slap that, you know, because I didn't want to make it seem as though everything had to be so precise. It doesn't. You can always make these adjustments as you're going along. And that is one of the best thing about painting. If something doesn't look quite the way you imagined, you just make a few adjustments, tidy lines up, add different colours. It's done. You can always work your way around it, unless you're doing watercolour, of course, and then if you make a mistake, then nah, it's gone. But when you're using acrylics, when you're using oils, you know, it's incredibly freeing, it's incredibly forgiving using these colours, because you can always paint over them. You can always make the corrections. You can always not make the correction. You can always make the adjustments that you need to make it look neater. If I was doing this and I slipped with this colour now and got it on the blue, I could get it off. If I couldn't get it off, I waited too long and it had dried, I could paint over that part and just add more of the purple, more of the blue, and get rid of it that way, and adjust it that way. You know, it's so therapeutic painting. And especially when you get something like this that has a lot of detail and you're focused, you can completely lose yourself in painting and just escape from your stresses and strains of, you know, stresses of life completely vanish as you're painting these minis. You know, get yourself a chair where you're comfy, and but what you don't want to do is spill. It's not your mini into the palette and get paint all over it. As you can see there on his nose, he's got a great big red splodge, and I don't notice. And I don't notice for a while. But it gets sorted, and you'll see what I do to sort it. Easy. But yeah, just enjoy this hobby, because that's what it's about. It's about enjoyment. At the end of the day, when you've got your minis painted, you've got a game you can play with your friends. You're getting around a table, you're laughing, you're joking with your friends as you're fighting each other on the tabletop. And this is 1, 2, 3, 4 player games. We actually did this at the Games Club a year or so ago, when I very first played it using the very basic rules. I think we had about 7, 8 people playing it. We all had a very small squad of 40k minis, and the Chaos and Necrons and whatever else, Space Marines, Orcs, and we just had a battle royal, and we each took part. You each started towards one part of the table, and we just met in the so like worked our way around and either picked each other off one by one or just went in for the kill with other ones, and we had a good time with it. And that's what gaming's all about, having a good time. And yeah, for me this is a much nicer game, a much better game than 40k. Yeah, 40k's been around for so long, but I started collecting the 40k minis. I made up a Salamander's army, played the game, didn't like it. Now I've noticed I've got that red, so I'll get a damp brush and wipe it off. Luckily it hadn't dried. There we go, it's all wiped off. Can't see it now, sorted. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, I started off collecting and painting the 40k minis. And I joined the first games club I joined so I could learn how to play the game. Played a few games, played with Steve Dutton, who these belong to, played with Scragger, played with a couple of others, and I just really didn't enjoy playing the game. One page rules, however, it's a stripped down, simplified version. You don't need as many dice, you don't need a head for mathematics to work out what you have to hit and this, that and the other. Everything's so straightforward. And it's a much shorter game. And it's not all my army goes first, and then all yours goes, and then all mine goes, and then all yours go. I activate a squad, you activate a squad. I activate another squad. You activate another squad, I activate another squad, you activate another squad. And you keep going until all your squads have been activated. And then, that's the end of the round. You go on to round 2. And you carry on until either the goal has been reached or you've wiped out your opponent. And some of the things that happen while you're on the tabletop, you can make it as cinematic as you want with certain things happening, or you can just play it straight down the line and just have fun. And a very simple game. You can have about 2 or 3 games of this in an evening where you just get one of 40k. I like this game. Don't rate 40k. Sorry, just me. Right, we're back into the metallic colour, and this we're going to be adding to a few of the scales. We're not doing all of them, but we are going to add this to a few of the bigger scales. And this gives that shimmer effect that lizard scales have. As you can see looking at it now, it's got that nice shimmer to the blue and the purple. And you usually see when you see lizard, you usually see this shimmer. Now we're using gemstone. This should give you the colour should give you a clue where it's going. We don't want a great deal of this. But there's some of these medallions being done, and the red on the drum, the red areas that were painted earlier on the drum are being done as well in this. So we've got lots of the medallions done, and next we're going to stick with the metallics and go into greedy gold, and this will be for highlighting more of the medallions, some of the bracelets he's wearing or armour pieces, and any other metal that we need to do. There's even that tip of his tail that needs doing with this, and the base of the drum. I really do like these minis. Oh dear. Right, so back to wet palette again. And this time we are going to be using what paint? Oh, we're going to be going back into Fire Lizard. and tidying up around the eyes, I believe. So as I say, it's just making minor adjustments. It's difficult to get to the eyes on some of the models because of the way the arms are positioned, but we try our best. As I say, I'm not painting the pupils because it's difficult to try and get them anywhere. They are very small, so you won't see them, but I do want to get the colour in there. Dark stone, you know what this is for? This is for the base. We've done the base of the last two with dark stone, and we're carrying on with dark stone for the bases for all of them. This is, you've seen me do this before, but yeah. Now, I noticed as I was doing the dark stone that the claws of his feet weren't standing out terribly well against this base, so I think I'd go into the fire lizard again and go over the claws on that. Here's the extra bit I do on the drum. Stipple. It's not a point, not a fine point, but I'm stippling, and then as soon as I finish stippling, I'm wiping it off, and then stipple a little more, wipe off. Again, it just gives that nice texture, not texture, patina to the drum. It looks more realistic rather than just having a straight, you know, oh God, what am I thinking? Rather than just having a one solid colour, having these little extras make it look more interesting. When I was going on about the toenails, I think I was actually thinking of the last mini I did with the priest. I don't know, I can't remember. Anyway, going into this blue, and I had started painting the base again, and then realised I'd not set the thingy the camera, because you can see some red on there as well, and possibly a little bit of blue. I think there is down there. Here I'm just highlighting the blue. So there's different levels on this base. There's different areas, different bits of raised areas. I try to paint each one in a slightly different colour if possible. So we've gone for this blue colour, and we've gone for a red as well on this particular fella. Not done this on all of them. We've just chosen different colours on each. It's just to show that there's like a very ornate flooring in the jungle temple. I believe that's what's how it's set. It's a missing jungle temple. Now I'm going to red, and we're just making that red on the base a little more vivid. And before that, well, after this now, we try something a little different. There are some patches there that I took a stone originally. There we go. You can see there. Those two lumps behind his left foot, I took them as being stone. So what I did is I got CD palette out. I got uniform grey. I put a little bit of uniform grey on the CD palette. I got a flat brush to dry brush. And surprisingly, I start dry brushing. And it's when I started dry brushing, something hit me. The leaves, not rocks. So I change. I go to goblin green. And I do the same thing as I did with the uniform grey. I got the goblin green on the palette, got the flat brush, and did a dry brush over what I've just done with the uniform grey to make these look green. I'm taking these as being the great big leaves, you know, like gunnerer leaves, that kind of thing. Right, if you enjoyed this video, then please give us a like, and if you think I'm worthy enough, subscribe. And if you do subscribe, don't forget to hit my bell to get notified on any future videos, and that will be greatly appreciated. And if you want to help out any further, there is Patreon, and there are a few levels there, and buy me a coffee as well. The same levels of backing I've put in to buy me a coffee as I have in Patreon. So if you go to either one of the, I've just dropped the thing in the palette again, but it's okay. All the paint was dry there. Yeah, so all the same levels are in both ways, and there's no I'm not pushing to get you to give me your money. I know times are tough, but if you do feel like it, then it would be greatly appreciated. Anyway, that's it for me for this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Until next time, stay safe and take care. God bless, and bye for now.